In 1979, we were introduced to the mind of director George Miller when he introduced to us the character of Max Rockatansky, also known as Mad Max. Miller explores this world with 3 movies from 1979, 1982, and 1985. And then we have a 30-year hiatus, and in 2015, we are brought back to the story in the universe of Mad Max, but this time we're seeing the point of view of this story from a new character, and that character is played by Charlize Theron. There's a follow-up movie in 2024 that then tells the origin story of this character, and in that movie, the character is played by Anya Taylor-Joy. The movies are, from 2015, Mad Max Fury Road, and from 2024, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. On today's episode, I'm happy to be joined by my cousin Ali Reza Beheshti, and now we talk about all things Furiosa. Let's talk for a minute. Ali, I appreciate you doing this. I know that we have been talking about Furiosa, and then we were also wanting to see like how Furiosa was going to compare up to Fury Road. So I do appreciate you joining for today, man.
Thank you for having me.
What I kind of like to do from the start for the movies that we cover, just to give our rating out of 10. I want to ask you to go first. I don't want to bias you. First for Furiosa, and then for Fury Road.
I'm going to give Furiosa an 8.5 out of 10, but Fury Road was a 9.5 for sure. Even maybe a 10, but I really reserve the 10 for certain movies. But so 9.5 for Fury Road.
For Furiosa, I'm definitely like somewhere in between either an 8 or an 8.5. If I have to pick, I'll just 8.5, I think is where I am with Furiosa. Fury Road, it should be a 9.5. I'm going to give it a 10 because it's just one of those that every time I watch it, I just can't believe this movie. The whole thing is...
I agree. It's a must watch, even for people who don't like the genre. It is just such an attack on the senses. I showed it to my parents. They did not want to watch this, but I said, you have to watch it. And they were just transfixed on the TV, mouth open the entire time. And when it was over, they were like, oh my God, what was that?
Okay, so pros. Even though I know Furiosa as a story chronologically comes first, still, we're on Fury Road. Let's go with that for a second. And with what you were saying, just from right out the gate, what that movie is like, I think the calmest part of that entire movie is just when Max is standing there with his car before everyone starts to chase him. That's the calmest part, probably of the entire thing.
There is no time for breath, really. And that was what Miller does in these movies that's so incredible, is that he just has there's an editing aspect to it, there's a pacing aspect to it, that it's just adrenaline pumping. And going back to Furiosa, he actually tries to tell so much more story, which kind of was a little bit off-putting for me because of watching after Fury Road, which was just one big car chase.
I at first was thinking that too. I feel like it's because we go into it having already experienced Fury Road and like, can anything live up to that? But afterwards, I'm thinking, okay, they have to cover, as you said, more of Furiosa's life from a little girl to now where she's this adult literally right before being the Charlize Theron version of the character. One thing that at first bothered me were those title cards at each section, breaking it up and having like little Tarantino
chapters, yeah.
The chapter, yeah, like the Tarantino style thing. But then I'm like, I get it. They have to use some kind of a device. There have to be jumps to get us to the point of where she is now. They're very different movies.
Very different. I was surprised by that. And I think that could explain somewhat, the lack of success of this one compared to the original.
I think the pros also for Fury Road, the two leads, Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. I mean, I remember when we've talked about it before, you were saying that's what pretty much makes this movie, right? But besides the kinetic pace.
And, what was going on between those characters? And now, of course, we know that they were not getting along. George Miller didn't give them much direction. There was a lot of chaos on set, which actually added to the whole feeling that I think he was trying to purvey through it. It was an advantage that Fury Road had. This one was more of a storytelling. It was more of a straightforward. There were great scenes in there, but boy, to some degree, the scene with the flying machines.
Oh, right.
I mean, that was amazing. And it just kept going and going. That was amazing. But that was Fury Road from beginning to end, were these scenes where cars just kept coming and all of these things kept coming at it. But I really did appreciate understanding where gas Gas Town and Bullet Town
Yeah.
and all of these guys came from. Chris Hemsworth was okay.
I thought a great villain. Sure, it's not the same angst of like Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron and their butting heads, or the, Immortan Joe from the first movie being Fury Road. There was something about this Furiosa film, though, that I really appreciated also, is that it was very satisfying getting a lot of the origins of things that happened to her. What happened to her arm? Why is she desperately trying to get back to the green place? All these things that were explained. And there were also some really great additions, I felt, in Furiosa. Besides Hemsworth as Dementis being the villain there, the mother character in like the first few minutes of the movie of Furiosa, that was a badass character. I thought that was really well done. For pros, what about music?
Absolutely. It added a lot to it. Look, and if you're going to have car chases, the thumping, the music, the drive, all of that added a lot to it in the first movie. But the second movie, it actually had some of the quieter moments, more of the emotional moments. I thought they did fantastic in that.
I'm going to switch to the cons for a second. You were talking about Fury Road not relying as much on CGI and Furiosa leaning on it a bit more.
A lot more, yes. I'm just surprised because that was one of the things that everyone was just talking about. It's like, oh my God, they did this in real life, etc. I just thought they would do the same thing again. And why not? Because they've already done it once. But there was definitely more CGI.
I remember that they had to move the production of Fury Road was going to originally shoot in Australia as well, but then they moved it, I believe, to Namibia. And when you have to move a production like that, I feel like at that point, when a lot of the money is already sunk in, you have to switch to practical. I think at that point, you don't have a choice. If they had a production that didn't have to move and was more controlled and working the way they wanted it to, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was also more CGI.
Yeah, but I'm getting tired of CGI. I really am. Let's just go to the Godzilla -1.
Yeah, great movie.
Where it didn't rely as much on CGI than any of the other ones. There was just a lot of practical effects. The impact is more. But that's just one of the things. I'm done with CGI. There was once a time when, CGI started with the Jurassic Park movies, really. Right. We'd never seen it before. It was so real that it was unbelievable. Before that, we had the clay animational puppet moving things that you moved like per second, etc. And then that move was incredible. And now we've had CGI for 30 years. And I'd love to see us get back to practical effects. And really, because there's way more impact, especially if you're trying to like wow the audience in an adrenaline way. It really is.
Where I will still make exceptions, though, is that if you can create this really amazing canvas, two examples that I would think of, I'm going to first count this movie as one of them, because just the sunsets, the night, the sandstorms,
cinematography.
How it looked, and I bet a lot of that, was CGI, but I'm like, it's well done.
Okay, so I'll rephrase it. That stuff I agree with. I don't like the CGI that has to do with the cars, the racing, the death, mayhem.
Yeah.
Because it somehow just dials back the impact of that to a certain degree. Oh, that's CGI. You could still tell. I don't know. CGI has gotten really good, but you can still tell. And then the thing about Fury Road was there were people falling off of things. I can't believe no one died.
No one died. Yeah. That and especially the last part of the car chase when they're coming back to the Citadel and like the truck flips or like corkscrews. But in Furiosa, when at the beginning, the motorcycles on the sand dunes flip and all that, you can kind of be like, this didn't look the part.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So the impact, it limits the impact. It's awesome. It gets the story across, but not the impact.
What do you think about Charlize Theron versus Anya Taylor-Joy?
I love both of them equally.
I thought, casting was perfect. I feel like we're going to be on the same page on this one. Not using de-aging. Just really glad that George Miller made that decision.
I mean, that would have been crazy. That would have been way too much CGI for this kind of movie. And the action, that would have just looked so off.
It still doesn't look right, the de-aging. So I'm glad, and Anya Taylor-Joy, besides this movie, Queen's Gambit.
This is the best thing since then. I mean, for sure, since the Queen's Gambit. It was a really powerful role, I thought, and she nailed it.
Yeah.
She nailed it. Now the villain, what was his name?
Dementis.
Dementis. I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. I just look, Chris Hemsworth is such a likable person. Look, Tom Hardy has dark, deep, darkness to him. Okay. You can tell. And that makes it much more foreboding as a character. But he's such a nice guy. Hemsworth is such a nice guy that I couldn't see him. I was never scared of him, ever. Even when he was killing the mother.
The one thing with Dementis that I think would have worked a little bit better, do you remember like towards the end, he starts talking more about, oh, I'm supposed to feel sorry for you. I lost people too. I lost my daughter. I lost my wife. No, had that been brought up earlier to kind of show how he transitioned from like a normal person to this dark, fucked up guy, it's showing you what his journey was. Maybe that would have made it something a little bit more scarier, creepier.
I thought that entire thing was kind of lame. I would have just been like, hey, you think you've lost people? We've all lost people. People are dying left and right. Life is not that meaningful here. Get over it, girl. That would have been way more powerful in my than him trying to do that. It was a little cheesy in my opinion.
Did you like how they just had that tie-in right at the end? Like there was no it jumped right to Fury Road.
Yeah, it's almost like then she was waiting for this to happen, and then she was able to take the girls and then move on. That was awesome, and I cannot wait to watch the two of these movies in reverse order to get the real feel for it. It's going to be an amazing 5 hours, I guess.
I mean, I definitely want to watch Fury Road again to see what's that part when she gets to where the green place is supposed to be. There's nothing there, and she just like screams. She gets like, falls to her knees and like that. I think will hit differently now when you've seen the first movie.
Exactly, it didn't hit at all because we didn't know what she was referring to the whole time.
Yeah, and
we saw that whole beginning part where it was this last oasis in the middle of the Australian not outback, the desert. Yeah, that would have hit very differently if that would have happened.
Do you think Furiosa was worth the 9-year wait from 2015's Fury Road?
You know what I would have done? If I were George Miller, I would have started with Furiosa and then gone to Fury Road. That would have made, as you're saying, the impact would have been better.
I'm 100%.
I just think it should have just been done differently on just time-wise. Yeah.
Fury Road barely broke even. And then Furiosa, we've seen, has been a box office disaster. My excuses could be that it was competing against other movies in the summertime, or that people's attention post-COVID is more divided. I have tons of excuses I can come up with, but I don't get why a franchise or IP like this can't succeed, but then Bad Boys 4 and, I mean, Inside Out 2, I can understand.
Absolutely.
It's a good movie.
Oh my God, people have been waiting.
Again, the reviews, people love this movie. The critics and the audiences love it. It's a $168 million movie. That's kind of high for a movie like this. But it barely made that amount back.
I think there's a visceralness to Fury Road that is something that people will want to jump on again. It's like a ride because it's so fast-paced and just doesn't give up. There are things that your eyes see that you have never seen before. And also the lack of visual effects and everything being just like real added to it. And it was just a one-off out of the blue. We'd forgotten about this franchise. It reinvigorated it. That is a part of it. I don't know. And otherwise, I really don't know what the difference is. I loved it. I saw it. I thought it was great. But I also went there expecting more of the visceral adrenaline stuff. And there was more storytelling, which I enjoyed. But it did leave me, my initial expectations were not met.
Okay.
And then that leads to people coming home and saying, that was a good movie, but I can't recommend it. Or that was a great movie. I'm not going to see it the second or third time.
I honestly think also, especially because this is a Warner Brothers property, had they gone the Last of Us route and made a series, I think that it would have been wildly successful as like a Max or HBO show. Like Last of Us, if that was made into a movie, I think it would have been also a massive flop and disaster.
The storytelling, it requires The Last of Us. The reason that it was so successful is because the character development was so good, and it takes a series to make that happen. They could easily do that. I don't know how they would have to rely a lot more on special effects if they decided to make the Mad Max into a series, but it would be really successful. I'm surprised they're not doing it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling that if, there's rumors of another installment in this Mad Max world where it's like Furiosa, where it's a prequel, only this time it's following Max's story, not Furiosa's story, like up to that point. And again, I think that would be great. What's his name? Tom Hardy is like, oh, I don't think it's going to happen. You know what? even if they have to recast him, fine.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like do it, but then do this Max series or HBO series route, and it will take off. Like
only if they got the right actors. I'm telling you, the actors are really, really important.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure.
You got to get the right people. Who do you think would do a good job in these roles in a TV setting?
I mean, this might sound crazy, but Henry Cavill could maybe be, a good person in that role. I'm trying to think who are like.
It's got to be someone with a dark soul.
Yeah.
That is a major part of it.
Yeah. I mean, it could be, I don't know if Charlie Hunnam could do it.
I mean, he has the look. We're looking at. I would love an actor who's had a lot of personal problems.
A lot of personal problems. Okay.
A lot of personal problems, and this could be like his redemption in some way, because there's a lot of story of redemption in the Mad Max movies.
It doesn't get more problematic than Ezra Miller. You want to put him in the role of Mad Max?
Yeah, but he's going to be hard to control in any way, shape, or form.
But I just think series really could be an excellent format for this. I just hope that, the movie didn't do well in the box office. I mean, that's putting it nicely. And we're going to see if it gets nominations and if it gets, Oscars, it might.
I don't think so.
But it
won't.
No?
No.
I'm grasping at straws here of what can give the Warner executives confidence to continue with this franchise in some format.
They need to continue with the franchise. We are going towards apocalyptic times. Everyone is feeling it in their bones. This kind of story really resonates with people. And we're going to need, Mad Max is iconic. These movies came out when I was young, okay? I was like 12 when I saw the first one, 11 when I saw this first one. And then, a lot of people talk bad about the third one.
I hate the third one.
But when that thing came out, it was a dominant cultural force with Tina Turner's part, the music of it. Burning Man, the thing you see as soon as you walk in is the octagon fight thing.
Right.
They have that. They took that, and you can go and climb up on it, and there's all that. They recreate that at Burning Man every year. It is something that is a part of it. And Burning Man takes at least a third of its culture from the Mad Max movies. So I don't know.
Because you have Mad Max, Road Warrior, and then suddenly Tina Turner and the Lost Boys, Fury Road, and then Furiosa. It feels so out of place. But okay, you know what? To your point, it was late 80s, early 90s when that one came out?
Late 80s. I was still in high school.
Maybe, as you said, like at the time, the...
Master Blaster. Come on. So I have to say it's my favorite of the three. Of the first
three. Of those first three?
Oh, yeah.
The second one...
The second one was excellent. The third
one
was just so good, and then the kids that he rescued. Yeah. It did become more formulaic in some way, but it needed it a little bit. You had to be there. It was a really big deal when it came out. Everyone was talking about
87, 86?
That would be it. That would make sense. Every part of that was just such a big deal. Tina Turner became a superstar again after that. It was the highest point of Mel Gibson's career, I think. And it just, for me, it worked. It was a kinder, gentler Mad Max, let's just say, right? It didn't work on a lot of the same levels. Look, the editing that George Miller does, the choppy editing, the weird almost speeding up at the beginning. He speeds things up because he moves quickly, all that. That was non-existent in the third movie. Right. It was just like a story. It was like a blockbuster storytelling time. But, that was the 80s. We tried things out in an indie way, and then we blockbusterized it. Like the Back to the Future movies had the same issue.
Right, yeah.
But it's not like I can't say the later movies were better than the first movies. They were just a little bit more blockbustery. So
maybe I need to go back and give the third one a rewatch.
Rewatch it without taking the rest into consideration.
Yeah. Just by itself.
It worked. By itself, I think it works.
What would you think if whether they do Wasteland, could be as a feature or as a series, and not in the title role as Max, they bring back Gibson to play a villain character? What would
they should have brought back Gibson. Come on.
For a villain character?
Just in general, come on. He was such an iconic presence. It was that and Lethal Weapon, the two things that was known for in the 80s. And this way more than Lethal Weapon, because this is what made him the badass. This is what brought him into the limelight. And they should have. He's become a great character actor in his later years. Let's bring him in as one of those bad guys.
if they're doing a different type of installment, maybe they jump way ahead and now this is older Max. There's a way they could do that where I think that could work. But again, they'd have to be careful with it.
And he's too big of a star and he's way too wealthy right now. There's no reason for him to go back.
And all the controversial stuff too.
Oh, I think that adds to it. I like people with histories if you're going to be playing these kinds of characters.
Yeah.
And I think it's a part of what makes him interesting right now as an actor. He has a lot more to draw from. He was definitely way more one-dimensional as an actor in the 80s than he is now.
Yeah.
He's a way better actor.
Oh, yeah. And director, too.
And director. And he knows that because he's become a director. He's a better actor. All feeds into each other. I wouldn't put it past him to direct some of them. Why not?
To direct the Mad Max movie.
Yeah, why not?
Well, yeah.
He's so involved. Why not? Didn't he do Apocalyptico?
He did.
And that was a great movie. I actually really enjoyed that movie.
And
he's a good storyteller.
And as you said, like the how Mad Max has an energy, Gibson has that energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a part of that. And Tom Hardy has that energy.
Yeah.
I could definitely, Tom Hardy there are very few actors that could pull it off. And, there's these stories of Tom Hardy complained about the direction. So basically, before starting the Fury Road, George Miller did not do any rehearsals with them. He just said, I want you to go and I want you to do what I'm asking you to do. Mm-hmm. He wanted them to be uncomfortable and disoriented because the characters and that led to him having his issues and also a lot of the issues that Charlize Theron had, and it added to the palpable sense of unease.
To that energy part, I definitely hear what you're saying, and I think it made for a better movie with Fury Road. But I remember you saying this too, that Miller focuses a lot on that. He's good at these character developments, these big action sequences. But one area where I think Gibson, if he were to direct, that he could do a better job. You said it, storytelling.
He's yeah.
So talk about the storytelling where it fell apart.
It fell apart on certain look. I mean, the storytelling. There's a nuance to how things progress within scenes, and then especially if you're cutting scenes into, you're doing time movements, time forward leaps.
Yeah,
and it was a little bit junky. It was.
Would you say in both movies? Or?
No, because there wasn't the first movie didn't have anything. It was just one big chase scene. It was one scene from the beginning to the end. Maybe it was like a less than a 24-hour period, 36-hour period where it took place. He didn't have to have that as a part of it. This one, he took a little girl through adulthood to the moment of the second movie, and that was a feat that I don't think he got an A+ in, maybe a B- in.
I was going to ask, why did you take the 0.5 off of Fury Road? But you were saying it was only because you really only want to save 10 for like
American Beauty or what are other 10 movies that I've seen in my life?
For me, it'd be like Road to Perdition.
For you, like the first and second Godfather,
definitely.
Apocalypse Now, another messy movie that ends making you feel what Coppola wanted you to feel, and you feel that. You feel lost. You feel drained after that movie. It's incredible. Really looking forward to seeing his new one.
Megalopolis?
Yeah.
He
could also, because he changed movies with Apocalypse, he changed movies with The Godfather, and I think he's trying to do that third change. We're not ready. Maybe we are ready. Yeah. Whatever happens, he's made it, thank God. This is art. In my opinion, this is art. You can continue to break out sequels and do remakes and all of that, but that's safe. This is art. It's someone taking something and pushing it forward, and people maybe not even ready for it. I promise, I was there when Apocalypse Now came out, and it was panned, and it was, what is this? I have no idea. It's not close to the book. Nobody liked it. And then now, 40 years ago, it's 40 years past it, it's a classic that everyone talks about, and it's a must.
They've done all the recuts and like all the new versions of it. Remember, like they would added footage, and like it's like Blade Runner. They've had so many different versions.
Blade Runner is another example of that. When it came out, it's like, what is this? Yeah. It's beautiful to look at. Great music. Tangerine Dream, Vangelis doing the music. But yeah.
I just hope this is not the last that we've seen of George Miller's Mad Max world. You know what I mean? Like, after talking about these other directors and all these risks that they've taken, Miller has taken these great risks. I think we've gotten this great work from him and his team. I just hope that Warner Brothers, that they don't give up on this franchise, because it's really something special.
It has a real episodic feel to it. It really needs to be given. Like right now, now we're working in a world where you can do 10 episodes, kind of like The Mandalorian. There's a lot of money being spent on each one of those episodes. I think it's equivalent to a mini Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
They're putting in the money. These are excellent episodes, great storytelling, indistinguishable special effects from the actual movies to these series. We are at that point. I will be not upset at all if Mad Max comes in an episodic 10 episodes a year kind of way. There's little stories that could be told everywhere. It'll be amazing to build these characters. The whole cyberpunk end of the world type of thing is more popular now than ever.
Yeah.
And we just need more stories like that. We saw what happened to with Fallout.
Yeah. I mean,
Fallout was great.
phenomenal. Yeah.
Absolutely. It told these stories that the game told, and it brought together all the, 5 or 6 games in this really seamless way and told these really interesting stories that worked in an overall arc. And they spent money. I don't know why they can't do that for Mad Max. I don't know.
But I'm also thinking of another thing you were just saying, that like maybe it's what benefit them is having these little hiatuses, like having the third Mad Max to Fury Road. That aided Fury Road probably quite a bit. They could try to reintroduce this franchise to the public, get them re-excited about it. Maybe it needs a break right now. Maybe, just like maybe they need to have some time to retool with it some more.
I disagree.
No?
I think they need to get going and continue to maintain this storyline and these characters in people's minds. Leaving it, I think, is more dangerous. I think it'd be better to keep it in.
Hey, I love that. Like, I hope that Miller makes more, or again, if it's Gibson, or maybe they open this up to like a whole team of talent. I think that would be
some showrunners, get some great stunt coordinators. I think that'd be the second thing I would get, even before the actors.
If we're going the series route, yes. I mean, and I totally think in today's entertainment climate, that's where they're setting themselves up more for success than in the movie theater. And they can tell a longer story. They can really treat it like a whatever. If they need to make it a 6-hour movie, but then you break it up into the episodes or whatever. Mad Max, like this one was 2.5 hours, the Furiosa movie. How did you feel with the runtime?
Runtime was good. No, I didn't feel anything bad about the runtime. Oh, I also want to really put a shout out to the people who made the Mad Max video game that came about 10, 12 years ago. That's kind of a way that we can do this. Just if anyone has not played it, it's about $5 now in any of the video stores, in any of the kind of the game stores that you could play it on the PlayStation, Xbox. That is a game that is timeless. They made it so well with little episodes of different things that you do, different missions that you complete, different challenges, the characters, the mechanics. Really, really fun game. And the car chases are amazing.
So the game came out at the time of Fury Road?
Yes. If not even
before. How did I miss that? Okay, I need to, I mean, I know I'm not a huge gamer, but like I need to, I really
played it just recently and I was just shocked at how good it was because I mean, I like the game more than I like the graphics. So if you're wanting graphics, don't worry about it. But if you want gameplay and just really capturing that spirit of the movies, that game has got it.
See, to all of you listen, you can tell like this is like a franchise that it gets people like, I'm definitely like, I love this franchise. This gets you excited, with all the games and ancillary and world building type of stuff. There's so much potential still for this franchise. And again, Warner, please keep going with this one. Furiosa right now is available that you can rent it and you can buy it on all platforms, whether that's, again, Apple TV Plus, on Amazon, on YouTube and Google Play. And Fury Road is actually also streaming now on Max. So definitely going to be...
And the game is under $10 right now.
Check it out. I mean, I really hope that this is a franchise that we're going to see more of. Before we go, though, I do want to see... Do you still stand by your ratings for both movies?
The more I actually think about it, I'm going to be pushing Fury Road at 10. Because I had to think about what other movies are 10. No, it's on the same level as the other 10s.
And Furiosa?
I still keep it at 8.5.
8.5? Yeah, 8.5 and... I'm going to say 10. Just like I agree with you on that. Who are the two guys that are the creators of South Park? Trey Parker and something.
Matt Stone, thank you.
One of them they were talking about, I just got back from seeing Fury Road again. And the guy was just like animated. He loved the movie so much. He's like, it's so great. Here's how much I love that movie. When I went the second time, I went with a suit and tie. I'm like, wow, like that expresses the kind of love that I think a lot of us, that we all had for such an amazing action movie.
Oh, yeah. And I saw it twice as well in the theaters. Just first time I couldn't believe it. Second time I actually saw the movie, I really just couldn't believe it.
Ali, I do appreciate you joining today.
Thank you for having me.
This whole world with Furiosa in the Mad Max universe, really wonderful. I hope you all check it out. Thank you for listening.